So, second video, if you made it through the first one, here's the second one. And I did realize that I forgot to basically go over all the skills, the sets, the points, talent chains, all that kind of good stuff. So, I'll do kind of a slower walkthrough. Helmet. I guess we should actually start with stats. So, pretty much always leaning into intelligence. Any kind of armor I can get, total armors, lucky hit chances, looking to freeze everything or immobilize, stun anything you can. That's what I'm doing on these pieces, but intelligence is the main focus. Max life, corpse explosion, of course, because corpse explosion is the main piece of the whole thing. Once again, see a chance to slow from a chance to freeze. Out from below, of course, it's what makes the little heat-seeking corpses run all over the place and basically run the dungeon for me. Temerity is just to basically help me survive, give me more potions, get the whole, whole thing going so that I can make it through or get through those tougher times when it's not surviving so well. Metamorphosis is just an extra little movement thing. Once again, max intelligence, max life. The damage is kind of nice too, and sometimes you can't even tell when the actual metamorphosis piece goes off because I don't actually have a defensive skill to activate throwing out all my corpses, because as you'll notice here, I've got somewhere in there, yeah, you have to use a defensive macabre or agility skill, which I don't actually have on the bars, so I just kind of build them up and they just kind of stay there. Anyways, two-handed weapon, of course blighted. This is one of the key main things. You see that 224 extra damage. That's pretty good. Wish I had a better roll, of course, but once again, seeing max life, extra damage. Those are masterwork pieces and a lot of intelligence, so this was a really pretty good, decent roll and stuff on that. But chain of decay, the decay once again just upping shadow blight, all this damage, kind of getting it all pumped into place. X falls just because you're doing a lot of damage over time, and it gets the extra pops in there, and those can actually hit really incredibly hard. Seen them hit for millions, even though it says 50,000 after all the multipliers and blah blah blah, millions and millions. Hey, we're joined in by the little one right now, so she's probably going to be saying something here. If you hear the extra voice there in the background, that's just my little one. But yeah, more stuff on my ring here. The sacrificial increases my sacrificing bonuses, which we'll get around to talking about here in a second. What's up, baby? What you need? You want to play with me? Let me finish this up real quick, and then we will play. Of course, as you see, all my Book of the Dead stuff is all sacrifice stuff. I'm not running with any minions. I know your necromancers are like, oh, you're supposed to have all your skeletal this and mages and golems and everybody out, but it's reapers, 30% more shadow damage, skeletal mages, increase the damage due to vulnerable, golems, and increases my max life. So can't summon anything, but things to help me do more damage, make it through a little bit easier. And then of course abilities. We'll go to Paragons afterwards, but we'll start with skill tree. So once again, I am basically just dumping points into single abilities, trying to get the bar down to as few things as I can. So started with Decompose. It's got 5 ranks, and then Enhanced Decompose. When I die, you gain essence, and then Decompose makes enemies vulnerable. So kind of everything stacking in there together. Run down to Blight, once again, Blight, and then of course the modifiers. Defiled enemies are slow, so once again, crowd control, and your minions deal, you and your minions deal 20% extra damage with Blight, so helps there. And then Cute Flesh, of course, the more you get, the more you get. Just helps with the whole corpse explosion kind of centric thing. And once again, corpse explosion turned it basically into bigger radius, and then makes it a darkness skill so that it kind of stacks with all the extra stuff. You'll see some more parts of that later. Grim Harvest, consuming corpses, grants essence. Don't use a lot of essence except for the blight, but there's a kind of thing there with all the corpses being blown up that then fuel me to where I can do the other. And then dealing corpses, lots of consuming corpses, lots of extra damage. Then we go through Death's Embrace. The closer they get to you, take less, you do more, so it's nice when things get kind of close and tight. Of course, on that last run, you saw I did die a couple of times when I got overwhelmed. A little bit of extra movement speed just so I can move faster. Not exactly a blazing Archon through there, but, and then of course all of these pieces right here, you notice like pretty much nothing else going in there. Corpses help me fortify. So once again, blowing the corpses up, forming corpses, blowing up, forming corpses just kind of fuels that whole little thing for survivability. Increasing my movement speed. Bloom, just, more shadow damage, and then more shadow damage. I'm sure you're noticing a theme here, and then crippling darkness to stun the enemies, and of course deal more shadow damage. So all kind of just focused in on these couple of few skills, stand alone. I have more minions, I get all these bonuses, perfect, because I'm not summoning anything, and sacrificing gives me more bonuses there. And then of course the final last thing, which is Shadow Bite, of course, and you'll notice that my current bonus is 502%. I think there was something that just changed here recently, or a patch or an update or whatever. I want to say I had it higher and it came down, but it's, of course, it's like you see, it's increased by shadow damage over time. And pop back over here, there's a few of them where, yeah, like 200%, almost, I'm sorry, 190% shadow damage over time there, and I think there were a couple others, shadow damage over time, yeah, a couple more shadow damage over time. Anyways, back to the abilities, and now to the Paragon board. This is the part where everybody kind of geeks out, freaks out. Once again, I don't do like everybody else and hold 7, 8, 9 boards or whatever everybody's trying to push to nowadays. You'll see I have 5 boards total, counting the starting board. Of course, the starting board, I dropped Scourge into it, so 70% more shadow damage over time, working well with Shadow Bite. And then, of course, we went into the, where'd it go? Wither, which I think this is one of the things changing next time, but you're noticing 182% damage bonus. So there's that, and then I dropped the Undaunted, damage while fortified, so I stay fortified, keeps myself up. It also gives me damage for basically surviving better. Jumped over here to Bloodbath. Notice I didn't actually take that one. I was just more looking for more damage while fortified, an extra socket, damage while fortified, with the sacrificial granting magic node bonuses, and just picking up a few extra little things, damage while fortified, giving me more max life. Yeah. I'm not trying to go too terribly deep into all this. But then Flesh Eater node, consuming corpses, increases damage. What are we doing when we're blowing up corpses? Just consuming them left, right, and center. And then Mortal Elites, Mortal Resistance, Intelligence takes care of most of your resistances, so you don't have to worry about that. And then the last one, Scent of Death. Corpses, near corpses, damage reduction. No corpses, you deal more damage. So if you manage to have nobody around you, deal more damage. If you have a ton of it around you, you're surviving a little bit better as people are dying around you. And just armor, shadow damage, and armor, shadow damage with another shadow damage increase on the darkness. You get shadow damage. So, like I said, overall, it's just kind of what I put together to try to be maybe like a one-trick pony and get it all in there. So this is the second video. It followed up the first run video. I'll probably be posting this both at the same time because I haven't even posted the other video yet, but this was my take on the whole thing. Like I said, suggestions, comments, all that kind of good stuff. And if you've got something for me, let me know. Once again, the name is Super Simeon. Not sure I'm actually going to start up a channel, but just wanted to kind of showcase the thing and see if there was anything that anyone could say or do about it, or give me ideas or suggestions to move around on this. I'm not sure if anybody needs to know stats, materials, all that kind of good stuff, but I am maxed out on all my resistances, so if you're curious, hey, you didn't max out properly, I should have my armor is actually overcapped, as you see, so I could probably pull some pieces here and there. Attack power, I've kind of noticed that number doesn't really equate to anything. Like, it can be up and down. I still do damage, and it's more based on what you have in your skill trees and your all your shadow damage and shadow damage over time stuff. Intelligence, yeah. So, and actually, the intelligence will actually get stronger when the period next patch hits, because they're giving us the 2-to-1s and all that thing. Not sure if you want to just kind of scroll through some of this. Stop it if you want to. Look at it if you don't. However you want. Once again, damage over time, 500%, and then damage while fortified, 167, damage versus injury. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Oh, case in point, thing to note, as everyone knows, if you're wondering why I'm not focusing on critical strikes and overpower and all that kind of good stuff, the corpse explosion piece, it is a damage over time, so it cannot crit, so therefore no crits means those things don't really work, so you don't really need to focus on overpowering critting. It's just more pushing damage over time, shadow damage, and things of that nature. Alright, well, hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up and a like and all that kind of good stuff. And we will maybe talk to you all later. Super Saiyan out.